All right, the highlights from Friday's live trading chat session at GreatStockPicks.com. GameStop, GME, my best trade of the day. Here's the daily. You can see the nice little flag after this little pop flag, and then a big break here. Let me show you on an intraday basis how I called it. After one failed 7-cent per share loss on it, I called it a second time, and that's actually a good lesson in and of itself, is that if you spot an opportunity and the first try doesn't work, don't turn your back. It might give another opportunity. So on GME, my final call that really paid off was over. You had kind of a 3-candle base here with a high of what, 1693. My idea was a long over this right over this 3-candle base, 1694, and a stop below this base at 1686. So you're talking 8 cents risk, and look at this. Meandered for a little bit and then took off, broke that 17 resistance, and literally one of our members said, hey, GameStop, remember we were in it from right here. Stop was right here. When it looked like this is great testimony to the teamwork in there. I wasn't watching anymore, right? I had my stop in place and it was working well. Well, when it got this shape to it, when it starts to get big and fast and volume picks up, and this candle, this 5-minute candle is longer than the 3 preceding it, and you see the shape almost goes straight up. We call that a potential final push up, or a PFPU. We got our own language in there. And one of our members, Leo, said, hey, GameStop actually looks like a PFPU. That triggers a reaction in my brain, and I teach it to everybody else too. Whenever you see something that you're in get this kind of shape to the upside, all you want to do is sell. Okay, and I don't say sell at all. I took a third off, I think, right here. I literally sold at the market while this was going up. Sold it at 1738. I had to check and see where it filled, okay, because of the shape here. So sold some at 1738. Remember, the entry was down here, and then look what happens. That ended up being the high for a short period, or for a while. Ended up spiking a little bit more here. And then I just used the 20 for my 20 period moving average 5-minute candles for my stop to keep me in it. And then when we got this push right here, I sold another chunk, my last chunk actually, at 1764. Love selling into spikes, and you can see that was almost the high of the day. I mean, it went up and closed at the high and may continue on Monday, but I'm back to all cash and a very nice low risk trade, and that was on 8 cents risk. American Eagle, I try to have at least one blunder every day, and great trading lesson here, and a lot of people in chat made pretty nice money on American Eagle. I'll show you my blunder though first. American Eagle AEO was getting ahead of itself to the downside. You see here it was around 2048, put in this doji looking 5-minute candle, biggest volume of the day, very extended to the downside. I looked on, I think I used 15-minute candles. Now keep in mind it was around 2040 something at the time. So it's in this sell-off. Looks different here because these are 15-minute candles. And I looked and said, you know what? This had almost 2 days support at the 2040 area, this whole area. So I said, you know what? It might bounce there. Let me go back to show you what it looked like. So it met a lot of parameters. Way ahead of itself, doji, high volume, and at some support from the recent past. Okay, so here's what happens. Took it around 2052, and I think I had a 20-cent stop on it. Look what happens. Moves up a little bit and then right back down. Okay, and this wave down, now I'm stopped out on it. This wave down becomes very interesting because now you're getting this was a failed bounce. Now you're getting ahead of yourself again. And if you go back to the daily, look how nice this thing has, well, you had a base here at 20, but look at this. You had a push down through 20 and a nice snapback. So there was one time in the recent past that it pushed through 20 bucks. There's another little tail, reversed. So there's definitely a buyer right here, right below 20 and reversed, right here, right below 20 and reversed. So there's definitely a buyer right below 20, a big buyer on American Eagle, okay? So let's go back to 5s again. And I had the projector on, and I said if this takes out 20 to the downside, I think it looked like this at the time, it could be a nice grab right below 20 with an arbitrary 20-cent stop. It made much more sense than my last one. Just made sense, it just didn't work. Great lesson in trading because not everything works. But what I did wrong here was, and here it is, it's on the projector, it's on every member's screen, and it's sitting below 20, and I was on the microphone saying this could be a nice grab with a 20-cent stop. This is a great area of support for American Eagle, okay? Having said that, there's their bounce, and it went up $1.20 from there. And we had several members do really well. I got a whole bunch of thank yous, but my problem is it was my idea and I didn't take it. And for whatever reason, if you ever taken a stock and it failed you, and then the next move is the one you were looking for, that's exactly what happened here. And for some reason, you say, well, I don't want to get burned by the same stock twice, so I'm not going to take it. So I'm always happy when people in the chat room make money off one of my ideas. But I think even the bigger lesson here is, and I said this in chat in the afternoon after reflecting a little bit, the bigger lesson here is if American Eagle fails me here, and then another stock, XYZ, we'll just use a fantasy symbol, XYZ is given this huge push on volume down to big support on the daily, I wouldn't have hesitated to say, oh, now I'm going to take this one. But because it's AEO, the same symbol, I sort of talked myself out of it because that symbol got me once. That symbol doesn't know. That stock doesn't know it got me once. So, there's a great trading lesson. If something, and really you kind of saw a little bit of that in GameStop. GameStop failed me once, ended up being my best trade of the day. But the lesson is, if a stock goes against you and it gives a secondary better setup, just because it's the same symbol, there's no reason to opt out and not try it again. That could end up being your best trade of the day. So that was it for me for the day. Let's see. Well, actually, I'll go over a couple other things. What was it? Oh, WLT was, WLT was one that when it looked like this, I gave it to our members. Actually looked like this, right around 38.80. The other calls were ripping, and they were strong yesterday. This is another one I didn't take, but my idea was you could literally take WLT right here, around 38.80, with a stop at 38.50. It might follow the other calls. It was kind of a laggard, if you will. And over the next 10 minutes, went up about 50 cents. And I got a lot of thank yous for that, too. There's another one that I didn't take, but there's not a lot of other highlights from the day. I had a small trade in Best Buy. I had one small loss in that one. And I'm just looking at my notes here, sorry. And a couple other suggestions that worked out well. And otherwise, a boring, typical flat day, except for the end. Okay, this is what the SPY's been doing every day. It's just chopping around sideways for a long period. Same thing yesterday. And I'll show you the daily chart in a second. But this was a little unusual. Friday afternoon, nice rally. On the daily, I always tell our members, as you see this channel here, look at the candles within this channel, and the average candle has okay size versus the last week. So if anyone's frustrated, well, this is what you call summer August trading. When you don't have a big range in the SPY, you don't have a lot of stocks moving. I think we've had a really great week considering, you got to have coffee at your desk to keep you awake. But it's worth sitting there because sometimes trades can just manifest out of nowhere. And that's what happened with GameStop today. Didn't even have that on watch. Saw a volume spike, put it on my radar, looked at the chart and said, wow, that's a great setup. And it had a lot of shorts in it as well, which we happened to know at the time. So anyway, guys, I'll quit babbling. Who knows what to expect next week. We're at the top of a channel, but the market has been incredibly resilient. If you look at trading boards, a lot of people are expecting us to roll over, which makes me think this thing might hold on longer than you think. But as we always say, anything can happen. So we're back in cash, and we'll be back at it Monday, working together as a team in there to find more setups. So have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you guys Monday.